Hello and Goedendag and welcome to episode 38 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode is on cotton cloth tailoring and the components needed. Notice straight away that I didn't mention Cloth Armour. I'll explain that in a second why. Before I continue on, I just want to remind you all that there's still just under 2 weeks left of the fishing competition. Because remember, on December 25th, I'll announce who the winner is. At the moment, of course, it's still Ali Cats with her 17.97 catfish. So come on guys, get on them boats and let's see what can be caught. That was why, remember, I wanted to do the fishing contest so we can all find out what types of fish. I think the 17.97 is pretty much the biggest catfish you can catch from the land, but what's the biggest that you can catch from a boat? And I will be doing an episode excuse me, in the future using a fine fishing rod, and I'll borrow Rainstorm's rowboat. Hopefully she won't mind. So, but first of all, let's see what you can all catch. So there we go, that's the fishing contest. I also want to mention that wool tailoring will be an episode in the future. This is not going to touch wool tailoring, nor will any of my other cotton episodes touch wool tailoring. That is a separate episode that I'll leave for the future, because you do need some high skills for the wool tailoring. Okay, so right, the reason that I'm not going to touch Cloth Armour in this, there's 3 reasons why I'm not touching Cloth Armour in this episode. Don't worry though, it's going to be the very next episode that I do. Reason 1 for not doing Cloth Armour yet is that I'm going to need to make loads of square pieces of cloth, and I'd prefer to do that off camera, because otherwise you aren't going to want to sit there for 10 minutes watching me make square pieces of cloth. We're going to need loads. Secondly, it's cleaner for the indexing, so for new people in the future, when they happen upon this series of mine, they can jump to whatever episodes will engage them, whatever subject it is they want to learn about. And thirdly, in the old days, young Treebeard would make the common mistake of making too much haste to be hasty, when really I need to slow things down a bit so I can be more like the original Treebeard. But basically, by trying to cram too much content into each episode, it just makes a mess of things. So I'm going to try to, if I can, in the future, separate what I'm trying to do, so it's easier then for people to understand. So there we go. That's the 3 reasons why I've separated the Cloth Armour. So it'll be the very next episode after this one. This one's all about preparing us for doing tailoring. So let's start with our tailoring careers. Okay, first of all, I need to tell you the tools that's required. We're going to need a floor loom, a needle, scissors, water, a wooden spindle and strings of cloth. Okay, now in the very last episode I showed you how to make the needle and the scissors. I did that simply because the forge was hot and it saved wasting time with regards to that, because I know you all think I do like to waste your time. Actually I don't. It's just that sometimes if I can save unnecessary wastage of your time, I will. So we've already made the needle, the scissors, and we've already made the wooden spindle, but I'm going to check next that you have the right spindle. For the other 3 components, the floor loom, the water we've already got, but for the other 2 components, I should say, the floor loom and the strings of cloth, we'll proceed to make them in this episode. Before we move on though, the next thing to mention is that for your spindle, so see him down there, okay, I don't know why he's a he, but there we go. See the spindle, you need to really, if you looking into tailoring, it's best to start with at least a quality level 30 spindle, and of course notice that it should be Oakenwood, but then you should realise that already. So ideally get it a bit above quality level 30 if you can, and make sure it's made of Oakenwood. That will just make sure in the future that you have a lot less failures, because for making the strings of cloth, the success chance is based off of your quality level of your spindle. So there we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch to the wonderful WurmPedia and just read briefly on what it says on with regards to cloth tailoring. Okay, so cloth tailoring, this is reading from WurmPedia now. Cloth tailoring is a tailoring sub-skill used to create and improve cloth items. Because yes, we will be creating, plus we will then be improving our cloth armour. And, well, I won't mention no more on that, but with the cloth armour there's a few good factors that I will be going over with you. Okay, just to quickly round off the WurmPedia though, I want to quickly read the notes under cloth tailoring. Starting with 50 kilograms cotton, you should end up with approximately 10 cloth tailoring skill and 15 kilograms of strings of cloth and 60% chance to make the strings of cloth. Next, when your skill level is around 10 to 15, you will find that it is faster to make several cloth gloves and improve them all until they are a couple of points higher than your skill level. Yes, so that's when we get into cloth tailoring. I'll be showing you that because it is cool. For pure skill gain, you can continue on cloth gloves to any desired skill level. Just make sure your tool quality levels at least match your skill. So there we go, that's why I wanted to read that bit. Next, if you have a pet, you can tame it. Oh, talking of pets, you remember that I had that dog over here? Well, he obviously had enough of my company and he's wandered off. So much for my pet dog. Although you can understand why. I was feeding him just on mixed grass, so I'm surprised I didn't get reported by the Animal Protection Society or something for feeding my poor dog grass. But anyway, there you go, there's my payback. He's gone because I fed him grass. So let that be a lesson to you. Right, okay, so I'm waffling on, so let's get back to my point at hand. So, reading from WurmPedia under notes. If you have a pet, you can tame it until it becomes aggressive and attacks you, and then let it hurt you to around 50%, or whatever you feel safe with. Then use the rags to increase your healing. Well, we'll be going over that bit in the healing episode. Yes, you can use rags to heal with, but we need to get rags first, just like a lot of the components for healing, so that's why I haven't done the healing episode yet, but we'll get there. Next, cloth tailoring items will burn if placed in a lit fire, oven or forge. Well, I don't think you're going to wake up one morning and say, let's put my whole complete set of cloth armour in the forge and get it nice and warm and toasty, so then when it's winter I can walk outside and be even warmer. No, I don't think you're going to do that somehow, so let's move on. Okay, next, with a 40 quality level needle, you can see the square sail option at around 20 to 21 skill level. So basically it's telling us we need to get impar needle, which we've made already. I've got it to, you'll notice, I'm nearly there, I'm on 35.84. Just to quickly mention that, you'll notice with all of the tools, wooden ones and iron ones, except for the knives, because that's a more difficult skill which I'm going to work on soon, but for all my other handheld tools you'll see that I've got them all to the 30s quality level, or mid 30s. You can see over here with my other tools, that's what you should be aiming for. Get your tools to 30 quality level. For your wooden bins, FSBs, BSBs, get them to 20 or 30 if you can. 30 appears to be a good medium quality level to start with, so aim for 30. With your knives though, bear in mind that's a difficult skill. that you're going to need to train up. So as you can see, I've only gone to 12 with that. You can get there eventually, but for now, just get it above 10 really for your knives, for your butchering knife, your carving knife, and any other knife related tool. Okay, reading on from WurmPedia though, because I was straying again, but I wanted to mention that. Past 25 skill, you barely gain skill for spindling cotton to string of cloth. So better to use a high quality spindle enchanted with Wind of Ages to save yourself time. Okay, don't worry about too much of what I've just said there, because we're in Wurm Unlimited. That doesn't affect us. That's talking about Wurm Online, because I'm going to show you in a minute and it'll make sense of why that doesn't apply to us. But for the last part, the enchant Wind of Ages, that's for priests. We're nowhere near that yet. That's in the future. Wow, I don't know what episode that is, but we'll get there. And the last item in the list, see sale for quality enchants details. Yep, we're going to get to sales, but again, that's in the future. That's another episode, and a very good one, but not there yet. Okay, switching back now to Wurm. Let's continue on. Okay, so the next thing to mention to you, the cotton quality level denotes the highest quality level of the strings of cloth that we are going to make. And don't worry, I will be showing you the strings of cloth quality levels, but I prefer that we make some so you can start to get the idea from that. So what we're going to do then, let's get off of this cart. Let's close that because it gets in our way. Just have a look at all the crops now. I've got 90 plus fields planted. So what I've found, for those of you out there that in the past have asked about the timers for the fields and about them rotting because you're not there, what I tend to do, and of course this is just me, just my opinion, as with all the episodes, but what I tend to do, when I first come into the game, I will then plant all of my crops, and I will at least play until I've harvested them all. Yes, that means I am playing for about 5 to 6 hours, but you know, for me that's good. So by doing a 90 fields, of course, each time I do that, I'm getting a huge amount of resources. So there we go, that's what I do with my farming. Right though, let's get off the cart and let's start doing some tailoring. Now, we're not going to touch the floor loom yet. We will get to it. But for now, what I want to do is let's start getting you into good habits. And let's grab some cotton. Okay, so as you can see, my farming, at that time I'd got it to 54. I've since progressed, it's now on 60s. So I keep my 60s cotton over in that other bin. This is where I'm going to keep my cotton and my wemp, because this is where I'm going to build tools for tailoring, for wool and cotton. So I'll keep it up here out in the open, I like that. Okay, so now when you're going to start doing tailoring, this is how you start. Okay, you cannot fail if you start the way that I'm going to show you. Let's bring up the skills. Now what you will do, you will grab a bunch of cotton, as much as you can carry. So we just press enter on that. It will put 88 kilograms in our pocket. What we're going to do, we're going to combine as many as we can. So let me just check my notes. Was there anything I wanted to mention? No, okay. Right, so we're going to combine as many as we can. So again, activate the cotton at the very bottom of the stack. Go up to the top where it says the times, right click and combine. It won't combine them all because the maximum weight is just like iron, 64. So what we will do, we will open up our cart and we will drop the 64 into the cart. We will then just drop all the other cotton back into the bin because we don't need that yet, and we don't want windows cluttering up the screen. Okay, we'll now drop that back in our pocket. Okay, so tailoring, cotton tailoring that is, will always start with strings of cloth. The reason it will start with strings of cloth is because you will be making strings of cloth, in my recommendation, until you get to 30 quality. It's 30 skill. Okay. Once you've hit 30 skill, notice that your tool is 30 quality. We are then super ready to start making cloth armour. And when we get there, all will make sense. But for now, trust me, get your tool to 30 or above if you can, and get your skill to 30 in cloth tailoring. Okay, so here's how we'll do that. Activate your spindle, and we're now going to make, I'm going to make 20 strings of cloth. Okay, you will use up 2 whole stacks of cotton, 2 whole stacks, maybe not completely, because your cut off will be when you get to 30 skill. Okay, but you're going to need tons of strings of cloth, tons of them. So I would recommend doing 2 full stacks of cotton. So okay, we'll bring up the recipe window, we'll go to recipes, and we will add strings of cloth. Cool, that's now got the full stack. So there we are, our full stack of 6. Although notice, yeah, so I was looking at the quality level then. Full stack 64. We'll put that to the max, and now we will create 20 strings of cloth. Now remember what WurmPedia said. It said don't bother making these past 25. Well, just keep an eye on that skill, okay, while I do this. So here we go, let's start creating. Bang, bang. See, so it doesn't apply to us. Just remember that with WurmPedia, it is generally focused towards Wurm Online. But having said that, it is still at least 80% useful to us Wurm Unlimited people. So here we go, we'll carry on making them. There's a reason why I want to make quite a few. Well, I want to make 20, won't take long. Yeah, I thought, you see, if I do cloth armour tailoring in this as well, I have to skip by so many details, and if I can, I do want to try and actually cover every single little detail I can think of. Of course, I will never think of them all, because this game, as you now realise, does have so much depth to it, but if I can, I want to get as many details as I can in each episode, and by breaking it down into smaller amounts of content, I can achieve that. So here we go. Look at that though, I'm on 30.5 already, and I've only made 15. But that's how I got to 30, by the way, just by making strings of cloth. And strings of cloth, as I'm trying to do in each episode, telling you the best way to level up your skills. For cloth tailoring, without a shadow of a doubt, it is creating strings of cloth to at least 30. Once we get to armour, then of course we'll start making the gloves like WurmPedia told us, and improving them. So for example, like for smithing, we could make 20 needles and then imp them up. For cloth tailoring, we'll do 20 small gloves, or 20 gloves, and imp them up. So there we go, we've now got 21 strings of cloth. Okay, let's just have a look. Right, now with strings of cloth, they can be combined. The max weight that you can combine them to is 12.80 kilograms. Now before you go combining them though, do not combine your strings of cloth after you've made them like I've just shown you. Do not go there, do not do it. What you must first do is separate your quality levels, because just like the iron, just like the wood, you want to separate your quality levels. So as you can see here, I've got my 50 quality level up there, then my 40s, then my 30s, 20s, and then what I call my scraps is anything under 20. So basically that's what we'll be using for creating all of our cloth items. So what we'll do here, we'll hit the quality level. That will then pull it into the lowest. So I'll click it once more and start with the highest at the top. So I'll grab my 354s. Remember, left click at the top, then press shift and left click, select multiples, drag them into my 50s. When there's the lowest of the quality level, what I always do, pro tip here, add it to the lower quality level. So for my 50s, I want to keep that as high as it can be. So I don't want to go any lower than 52 into the 50s, because it will drag down my top level, my top tier of the level. Oh, I hope that makes sense. You know, there's just only so much Treebeard can waffle on about before he starts to melt. Anyway, so yeah, try not to damage your quality level. So golden rule, the very lowest of that quality level. So for 50, it's for the 50s, it's 50. I'm going to include that in my 40s. And for the 40s, if I had a 40 and a 41, I would add them to the 30s. So I hope that now makes sense. So there we go. That's now going to be my 40s. And because I'm adding that 50, it will boost it up. So there we go. Let's drop that in the 40s. And there we go. See, I've got a little boost. And you'll always generally get a boost when you do that. So for the 30s, we will go to the 39 and 34. We'll leave the 30 for the 29s. So we'll drop that in the 30s. And now the 20s, we will do to the 25. And we'll drop that in the 20s. So if you keep doing that, you'll always be slightly increasing until you get mid. Do you see how I've managed to get mid for nearly all of them except the 50s? Because I've topped out at 54. That's why I haven't managed that. But doing what I'm telling you, you see, you'll always be mid-range in that quality level. So you can see it's good. Right, okay, so next what we need to do is combine all of our low quality strings of cloth. And then we can see the max combining weight. So activate the one at the very bottom, right click the one at the top and combine. Because yes, you can combine them. And there we go, and there's what WurmPedia said, 12.80 kilograms. Or in fact, that's what I said to you, but I got it from WurmPedia. So there we are, that's the max weight. So what we'll do is we will now drop that back in there, and we'll combine these up as well. And there we go. Keeps that all nice and tidy. Right, okay, let me just check my notes now, see if there's anything I've jumped by. Yeah, so I've mentioned to do two full stacks of cotton into strings of cloth, which is what I've been doing already off camera, because I didn't think you'd want to sit and watch me doing that for ages. Okay, what we'll look at next is, let's just check my notes. I've mentioned about separating the quality levels. I've mentioned that. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump to the WurmPedia and read the contents of the Floor Loom, because that's what we're going to move on to next. So let's have a look. Bring up the Floor Loom. Okay, reading from the wonderful WurmPedia. A large wooden loom made for weaving. The Floor Loom is used for weaving strings of cloth from spinning cotton into spinning goods or materials to create armour and clothing. Once completed, it cannot be picked up. However, it can be pushed, pulled and rotated. It can be loaded into a wagon or shipped for transporting. So there we go. If we do move off to the mainland, we can put it into our wagon when we get around to wagons, which is another episode, but a very good one, and take it with us. Okay, just to quickly read off the notes now from WurmPedia. A higher quality floor loom increases your chance at creating items with it. Can be enchanted with item enchantments like Wind of Ages. Failure on creation causes both the small nails and wooden planks to take some damage. And next, higher quality small nails increase your success chance for creating a floor loom, and loading requires a wagon or a ship. Yep, well, it's told us that already. Okay, so it's got a trivia there talking about rugs, but we'll get to that in the future. Right, let's switch back and see now how we're doing. Right, okay, so what we're going to need to do now, which I didn't think of, but it's okay, I do have the components. We're going to need to go and grab the components. You'll see over here where my mine is that I've now gone through making all of the different, yeah, it looks a complete mess, but hey, it's functional. See, I've done all of the quality level bins now. Yeah, it looks a right fine old mess. I know, but it don't matter. It's functional. Right, so let's grab. What components will we need for the floor loom? Excuse me. To make a floor loom, we're going to need 3 planks. Oh, great. So I'm going to have to make the... Oh, no, I have got them there. I won't be hard on myself. So let's grab that plank. And let's grab 2 cedars. Okay, so we need 3 planks, 1 small nail. I'm so glad I'd got all of these materials. 10 shafts and 10 strings of cloth. Well, there you go. That's why we was making the strings of cloth. So 10 shafts. Oh, thank goodness for that. I have got 10. Okay, let's grab 10 shafts. And lastly, what we'll do, because I've now bundled together my strings of cloth, I'm going to drop them into the BSB. It will separate them for me, and then I can grab 10. So that's just what you will do. If you've combined them, don't worry, drop them in a bulk storage bin. It will then separate them for you. Okay, so what I will do, I don't know if I'm going to need them or not. I will put them back in there and put some back in there because I don't know if I'm going to need them. Okay, let's go make this floor loom. So there's the items we need. 3 planks, 1 small nail, 10 shafts and 10 strings of cloth. Where am I going to make the loom? I'm going to make it over here in my fields, in the middle of the fields, because that's just the way I am. Right, slap bang in the middle. Yep, a complete nutter, as you already all know. And I'm going to put it next to my bins, my BSBs. So here is an ideal location, in my opinion. Okay, right, so now to do this, we need to activate a plank and then right click the small nails. So we activate the plank, right click the small nails, create. And here we are, tools and floor loom, 60% chance. Cool, let's go. And there we go, there's the starters of our floor loom. So what we'll do now, we'll add that to the crafting window. And let's add our strings of cloth first of all. What's the last item? Here's a question for you to keep you awake and keep you engaged. What is the last item we must add to this floor loom? I won't answer it yet, but I'd like you to think about that and see if you're correct. Okay, so do I add it that side or that side? Right, so we had that side. There we go. So let's continue. Yeah, so am I adding the wrong component first? What is the last component we need to add to this floor loom? And it's very important that we make the right decision, the right choice. Not hard to make, you'll notice the floor loom. But remember, the higher quality level of the floor loom, the higher the success chance we'll have at making the square pieces of cloth. Now, for those of you out there that have been playing Wurm for years, you know the pain involved with square pieces of cloth. It's just like, oh, what was we make? Ropes. Oh, just like the cordage rope. I mean, this game has some punishments it's going to meter out to you. And cordage ropes and square pieces of cloth are, well, I don't think so much the square pieces of cloth, but as you advance in tailoring, when you get to the sails, then you're going to know the meaning of the word pain. Wurm will slap you down. Okay, so one more and then we're done. Okay, time for your answer. Of course, it would be our cedarwood plank because we want to make it out of cedarwood. So next we will add our shafts because they are not cedar. You can see now why I couldn't do the cloth armour in this episode. I'm expecting that timer to go any minute, but I do want to finish off the last thing, which is at least making one square piece of cloth. Oh, I do hope I've got time. And what I'm going to do right at the end of this episode, Symbiont asked for something. Oh, look at that. See, I just knew it. Well, I'm going to have to go a little over, I'm afraid. My apologies for that. But there you go. Such is life. It does happen. Because Treebeard is trying to get all the information that you need. And let's face it, we're not going to be hasty. If something's worth talking about, then it's worth talking a great deal about it. Here we go, nearly done with our floor loom, and then we can create a square piece of cloth. So don't panic, don't swear at me, that's totally unnecessary, even though I possibly do deserve it sometimes. Okay, oh, might help if I drink actually and eat. I do tend to starve myself in real life and in game. Oh wow, I haven't eaten for ages. Oh wow. Yeah, when we get to the... I know. When we get to the cooking episode, I'll be making meals. I don't need you telling me that, nagging me. I'm the only one allowed to do the nagging, remember? Right, let's grab the planks, and then we are done. And they're both cedarwood, so we're not going to panic. Ugh, it would fail on the last one, typical. Right, now, the reason all the failures, just to point out to you there, because you must have noticed that, is because it uses fine carpentry. That is a fine skill to get up, because with that we can make a tool that we're going to need for the wall tailoring. We can make our wagon once we get to 40, and we can make some other nice items. So that is a very fine skill to get up, trust me, and we're getting there. Slow but sure, but that's why the loom was a bit difficult. So don't worry if you struggle, just keep going at it and you'll get there. So let's have a look at this beauty, as we always do. Except my ball's in the way. Oh, let's get him out the way. Can't ruin this by that. I'm going to have to go hunting after this episode for my mutt. Funny how he managed to run off to the other side of the island in the space of about 30 seconds. There we go. There is our wonderful floor loom. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah, a work of art. Right, let's finish off this episode by making a square piece of cloth. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab all of these. We are going to quickly, I know I'm run over time, I am sorry about that, but for indexing purposes, I want to fit this in this episode. We'll combine them. We will then... Let's see, so what we'll do, we will use the crafting window, which is fantastic, especially for doing large quantities of items. There we go, square piece of cloth, floor loom string of cloth, add that to the crafting window. Did it do it? No, I don't think it did. Let's try again. Add, right, then add the loom, and there we go. Yeah, check that out. We won't be going there anytime soon. Right, okay, square piece of cloth. Because you've listened to me and got your tool up to 30, because you listened to me and got your skill up to 30, it's a now a breeze. It would have been painful, but what you've got to bear in mind is you watch the chunk of material it takes when we make this. Now, remember, the quality level of the floor loom affects the success chance. What quality level have we got? Oh dear, a really low quality level. I'm only going to make one because it's going to fail lots, I believe. Even though it's 72%, I still think I'm going to fail lots, so I don't want to waste a lot of my cotton or square pieces of cloth. By the way, you notice I just combined them. Oh no, that's not that. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I was going to tell you that the maximum amount of pieces of square pieces of cloth is 64 that you can combine together, which equals a total weight of 19.20 kilograms. So, without further ado, let's try and make some. Just like strings of cloth, you can combine them. The difference between square pieces of cloth and strings of cloth is actually a tool that you'll be using for improving the cloth armour. So there we go. You hear the noise it makes as well, it sort of clunks. So there we go, there is a square piece of cloth. That is where I will leave this episode. What I will do, because it's night time, I know Symbian, I did say that I would show you around the island. I will do that in the next episode for cloth armour, which I believe I will either make tonight or tomorrow. Okay, wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every last single one of you safe and have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.